So I'm quite keen to talk about the culture of the New York Islanders.
Okay.
What gap, what void has the existence of the club filled?
I go back to, again, with like a lot of students traveling, and obviously there's immigration across the board, like from, people coming from the islands to live in the US. And I would say US because a lot of times it's not only specific to New York. You have islanders come in to live in different parts of the US. And if they're hockey playing nations or hockey players coming up, there's definitely a great divide between the level and how the sport is treated in the US versus what you have in the islands. So the New York Islanders fills the gap of not feeling like you're into a completely different system. It almost feels like you're coming home to hang out and have fun with your friends, family, aunts, uncles, cousins. So it helps just help you get acclimatized and not feel like you're in a foreign land by yourself. And they've always, as far as I know, welcomed uh, every islander that is willing to play hockey, be it from Barbados, Jamaica, Trinidad, any one of those, countries that are coming to play. So it fills a gap of feeling that you still have a piece of home, you still have a piece of family when you travel abroad. Because I know there's so many times that girls go to university and they end up in the middle of Pennsylvania, and after their first preseason, they want to cry and run back home. But it provides a little bit of like a light at the end of the tunnel, that you're around people of the same culture, you can make the same jokes. There'll be somebody to like talk you off the cliff of like going back home and remind you that it's only for a time, and you have support. So it definitely fills the gap as it pertains to support, family, social um, areas when you do migrate.
What elements has the New York Islanders hockey team, the club, what have they added to the culture of hockey in New York, in the wider context of American hockey?
One like main thing I think is just like the social aspect and being able to um, still have fun and play, because they do play competitively. They've been in the top tier of the league in New York. And what you find in New York is, which I love about like playing and umpiring in New York in the Northeast Field Hockey Association, which is NEFA League, um, is the fact that you have a team that's mainly made up of Islanders. Then you have a team that's mainly made up of Englishman. You have a team that's mainly made up of Dutchman. You have a team that's made up of like Indian players. So you get a lot of that cross-cultural experience, but still in a fun atmosphere. How I think the New York Islanders stands out is just our overall culture of being social after. There's never a time where you just go to the game, play for an hour and a half, and then leave. There's always a group of people that are there that will watch the extra games, that will hang out. We could talk through them, you'll crack some jokes, and it's a very welcoming team. So it is, say your entire team leaves and you're just sitting there because you want to see the next game, there's definitely somebody who's probably going to come offer you a beer, just to include and encourage like the social aspect of the game. So if a New York Islanders game is at 9 o'clock in the morning, most likely at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, they're still there hanging out, watching hockey and chatting it up. So they do encourage like one, that social aspect, which is really important. You want to enjoy what you're doing, because this is not a not a professional sport at this level at the NEFA League. It's a recreational league, and they help maintain the recreation part of the recreational league. Some teams tend to get really serious, but I think they continue to maintain that this is for fun, this is for, a release of all the hard work you've done all week. And yeah, you could still do it and be competitive at doing it.
Is that not a common thing then in the rest of the NEFA League?
I think it's team dependent. Some teams do it more than others. Uh, So, and it really boils down to culture. Some teams, they get up and leave right after. I think like the English team, they might hang out a little bit more versus, I would say, like the Dutch team, they'll probably go, or even like a strictly American team. There's some teams that are made up of mainly Americans and they're not hanging out. They play, they come. You'll have one or two that will stay back with another club, but generally there's not this great like social aspect after, or like for us it's expected and just kind of naturally and organically happen, versus other teams where it it's kind of forced, let's do this after the game kind of thing. There's a plan and an invite and everything that goes out.